If you followed any of my previous videos about how you can lower your sort of corporate carbon footprint, how you can become a more sustainable company, you know that I really love two standards. You know, there's two standards that stand out to me head and shoulders above all the others, and there's loads to choose from. The first is what I've written about in my first book here, Net Zero for Business, and it's all about how you can have some practical day-to-day steps to lower your carbon footprint as a business, easy to understand, easy to implement. For larger companies and people who want to maybe go to that next stage, the other standard I really love is science-based targets. It's a really good standard, it's really well written, and do you know what, it's becoming more and more popular. Dropped into my email this morning was an email from Science Based Targets Initiative, that's SBTI, note the I at the end. They're the people behind Science Based Targets, and they have published a new annual report. So I thought I'd take a look at it. So let's have a look. Let's see what it's like. First off, this is the report. It's free of charge. You can download it. If you search for this on Google, you will get it. And maybe one of the clever editors can add a link down below in the comments. Let's have a look. I've not seen it before. 33 pages long. It's quite long for an annual report. And video company progress on progress dashboard. Okay, should we do that? Should we click on that? Let's have a look. Progress data dashboard, progress at a glance. Let's have a look at the dashboard here. View the progress dashboard. Oh my God. Let's have a look. All right, so this is a list of companies by the looks of things about how they're getting on with their report. How many companies are on here? Let's have a look. I'm not sure it says on down here. So page one of, oh my God, 208, 10 per page. So that's about 2,000 companies. Should just take a look at a random one. Let's pick 42, a very internety number. Let's have a look. Page 42. Construction, not reviewed, not reviewed. Oh, so a lot of them, they've, so when you do science-based targets, you set up all your science-based targets, internal structures, and when you're kind of feeling confident, you write to SBTI and say, hey, look, I want to become certified by SBTI. And SBTI then review your documentation and review your plan, etc. The time between you issue the letter to SBTI and, you know, sort of getting certified and getting your house in order, because there's a lot of work, a lot of data, it's normally about 2 years. So what this probably means is these people down here have notified SBTI that they're doing it, but SBTI have not yet got around to doing the analysis of it. So let's have a look. All the sector, well, it's pretty obvious down here, reporting progress, targets. Then two targets with science-based targets. There's near term and long term, and reduction, other. It's interesting, I don't know what the other will be there. Near term. So it looks like you've got some near term targets set up there. Let's just pick another page at random. Dentsu Inc. from Asia, near-term reduction 24%. Yeah, so it looks like some of these companies got a lot more work to do, or else the SBTI haven't got around to sort of looking at them yet. Progress report there, progress at a glance. So 1,097 companies are now SBTI approved. I think it's pretty good. From memory, I think there's something like 1,080 odd, something like that, for the last few years. So if there's 1,097 companies that have been approved, that's brilliant. And then up here you've got another 1,000, so 300 commitments, and certainly some of my clients are in this group here. So a number of my clients have sort of made the commitment, and we're helping them through the next stage. So 34% reviewed their Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. Yeah, that's quite straightforward. I mean, it's not hard there. 58% of organisations were setting targets in 22 were SMEs. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's good news. I mean, it means SME is a broad term, isn't it? What does it mean? I know SMEs that are like one man, one bucket and a ladder. Does an excellent job on Windows. And I know other SMEs that are turning over sort of 25, 30 million. So it's a broad term. So, but yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good. 130 companies set net zero targets. Superb, superb. I wonder why that's 130 and that's 1,000 plus commitments. That's like over 2,000. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Don't know about that. I would expect that number to be larger. Let's have a look. 60% of companies setting targets come from service manufacturing. Okay, yeah. So all the companies, so there's different things that SBT are aiming for, different sort of scenarios, and in terms of what SBT do is to say if we all cut our carbon emissions by this much, then the whole of the planet will only heat up by X or Y. And obviously, if you don't want the planet to heat up quite as much, you need to cut more carbon. So the lower of the limit is the 1.5 degree target, which is this thing here. Yeah. Means that you've got to do more aggressive carbon reduction work. And I'm not sure it's actually that achievable, nation on nation, but, good luck to them. Good luck. It's a good thing to aim at. I think most people are heading for, well below 2 degrees, which is the other standard in SBT. 96% of all companies covered Scope 3. Scope 3 is the harder one, especially when you talk about supply chain. 27% increase the amount of combined. Yeah, okay. Hey, look, 76 million tons of CO2 committed to be reduced. That's pretty good, isn't it? To take 76 million tons out. I think there's a drop in the ocean compared to, what the actual sort of global emissions are, but pretty good. 70% of companies with science-based targets publicly reported progress against their targets. Yeah, well, I think if you're at science-based targets, why not shout from the rooftops? Yeah. All right, so that's the progress at a glance. Let's go back and have a look. Important notes. I'm probably just going to say, some boring bits you get at the front of all these reports. Let's have a look. Progress data, important notice, exclusions. Well, that's it. It can't be it, can it? Download the full report. Maybe, okay, so maybe I just jumped out of the PDF then I clicked on this link and it took me somewhere else. So let's have a look. So science-based targets, that just says who's behind it. Some good people, CDP. I find them difficult to work with, but they're doing a good job. World Wildlife Fund, Worldwide Fund for Nature. I mean, you can't get better than that. UN Global Compact. And that's probably why I like science-based targets. They've got some excellent people behind them. They really are good. What else have we got in here? So I'm not going to go through every page. The goals. Gosh, look at that. $20 trillion of the global economy is covered by the approved. Well, that's pretty good. 5 gigatons of corporate emissions covered by science-based targets or commitment. Fine, but that didn't kind of marry up with that 79 million tons that we saw earlier, is it? But don't know what the difference there is. 100,000 companies commit. Right, so this is what they're aiming at. So if they've got 79 tons and they're looking at 5 gigatons, unless I've read it wrong, might have done, I think they've got some way to go. And their aim is to 10,000 companies. Pretty good, great stuff. 2,000, so the fifth of the way there, which because they've only, been sort of, the popularity is going like that, should be achievable. Let's have a look down here. Dr. Luis Fernando del Amaral. Yeah, I saw one of his videos, I think, on YouTube. These are the sort of the headline figures again. I think we've been through this. So I won't dwell on that. So look, this is where people are doing it. Africa, 1%. Come on, Africa. Yeah, a bit more than that. Oceania, 2%. Again, that's much lower than I would have thought. Europe is the biggest. Asia, 24%. Latin America, 3%. North America, 15%. What do I think about that? I think what I'd like to see more in the North American sort of sector. Is very low there compared to the number of businesses. And down here, I know about the Thriving, went down for a sort of conference down in Australia recently, and there's some big stuff going on down in some of the bigger cities there. So I would have thought that should have been larger down there. I don't know so much about the other areas down here, to be honest, but pretty good. So these are the penetration levels up here. So good penetration, best penetration is in Europe, then Asia. All right, interesting. 2,000 companies. Hey, look, this is their rise. That's pretty good, isn't it? That is very good. Very good. It's a great standard. If you need a large, comprehensive standard, it's a good one to choose. They seem that half the people committing have set targets broadly. If you look at this bit down here versus this bit here, so the purple versus the blue, it looks like half the people doing it have set targets. So, and I guess if they've issued the commitment letter, that's what people will be working on now. High impact sample penetration of G7. Well, yeah, we saw that in the numbers, didn't we? If you remember Europe getting a high proportion and spotlight on Asia. Yeah, Asia was pretty full, 24%, I think, from memory. Another 317. It's brilliant. I'd say that I think could be higher. Let's have a look. This is just that same data before. Validated targets. The validated targets are the ones that they've actually looked at and said, yes, we agree with you, sort of the royal stamp in the box. And yeah, okay, not bad. Not bad. In 2022, just trying to interpret this graph. So the purple one is the old ones, 2015 to 21, and then 22 are in the pink. So the blues are the commitments, pinks are the targets, and the light pink are the recent ones. Hey, look, Japan has got a lot of stuff in there, so well done, Japan. Let's have a look. Uptake amongst stock market listed companies continue to grow. We're seeing more of the clients now just being, I would say, encouraged. Encouraged is not some of the large supply chains, like the big retailers, the Marks and Spencers, the JLRs, the Tesco's of this world, etc. The big supply chain sort of owners are really saying to their clients, look, if you haven't got this in place, you need to put it in place by X, Y, Z. And a number of my science-based targets clients are on that route. They supply into those chains, and so they don't get any choice. They've been given a time frame by which they must comply. And, that is especially true with stock market listed companies, where companies need at the moment to be recognized as doing something. The shareholders want that, and we have got just a few, not many, but a few large listed, very large listed companies that are doing that for that reason. They not only want to be sort of sustainable, they're required by their shareholders. There's pressure on them by their shareholders to do this. So yeah, I buy all that. 45 UK, so it sounds 22. So 45 of the FTSE 100, well, that's half, yeah, give or take. It's pretty good, pretty good. All right, another graph, let's have a look. Penetration of the SBTi leading equity indices. All right, so this is how many of the listed companies in each of the territories are in SBT. France leading, and look at that, 65 plus 23, so that is 88. 88% of French companies that are listed are in SBT. That's brilliant. Germany second, UK, it's close, second and third, with sort of trail off down here. Yeah, it's great. Greatest growth from SMEs. 638 small and medium. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I think there's some special sort of provisions for SMEs, and I think what I'll do is I'll go away, in the next couple of weeks and just have another look at those provisions and see, how many of the provisions have changed. Because last time I looked at the SME provision was last year, so I need to take another look at that and just see how easy it is for SMEs to get up there. Net zero, great starting point, but if we can get our more SMEs doing this, even better. Doing the science-based targets, good stuff. Services right up there, manufacturing, infrastructure, etc. Okay, fine. In terms of the sectors that we look at, what we see is there's a correlation between companies that have got a good brand good sort of, household. Some of my clients are household names, and for them, they want to do the right thing, maybe because they've got that right mindset that, the brand is important to them, or maybe their ethics values are such that they think, right, this is something we should do. And that's certainly the case for a couple of my clients. But some of the service companies, if you look at all of my clients in SBT, a lot of them are service companies, so I go along with that. Manufacturing, I think, in that group with my company, the manufacturing parts, that they're more along the lines of they're being told they need to do it, to meet the supply chain requirements. Temperature aligned. Yeah, so most people are going for the 1.5 degree route. Good luck. It's it's a more aggressive target. How many people achieve it, I don't know, but the well below 2 degrees. Yeah. All right. So yeah, good. Companies with target Scope 1 emissions coverage over time. So, a steady progress of companies that are reporting their emissions in. I'm not sure that actually gives you that much information. It's just data, isn't it? More action needed on reporting. Yeah, so they're saying, look, no public information or blah, blah, blah was found. So, yeah, I think you will see increased levels of reporting going through and a certain transparency. That's one of the big things for SBT, and certainly, a lot of companies are being encouraged not just to do SBT, but, push the data out there, especially the public companies. What are we doing? And publish the reports through. Reporting gap amongst companies with science-based targets. Yeah, okay, fine. Increase in SMEs. Yeah, as I say, brilliant trend. 6% of SMEs reported progress. Yeah, but I mean, in fairness, that sounds a low number, doesn't it? But if this is just coming to the fore now, if SMEs are really starting to take this up, then they're probably not at that reporting stage at the moment. Yeah, that's brilliant. 845 SMEs. Really impressed. Trend indicates slower rate of emissions reductions post-COVID. Well, yeah, okay, fine. I think during COVID, a lot of businesses scaled back. That was terrible. But, you got that scale back going on. You also got to move to video conferencing and less commuting to see clients. Those two things may be synonymous with many clients. And, so maybe that there was an artificial drop during the COVID years that is now sort of rebounding. I don't know, but certainly seen that every now and again. 5.9 for typical companies. It's pretty good enough. The typical company reduced their emissions at a linear annual rate of 5.9% between the base year and 2021. It's pretty good. So, 6% reduction, great, because that compounds, so, 6% is not a lot on its own, but as it compounds up, that becomes, very sort of, becomes significant. The SBTi evolve growth in science-based targets or regions. Okay, so SBTi are getting larger, bigger and better. God, they're doing a lot, aren't they? Look at that lot. And I think one with okay, so that's the end of the report. We're into data sources and methodology. And they're very transparent. They publish all these things, so it's good news. So look, I won't go into the rest of it, but I'll just flick back to the top just so we look at the pretty cover page. Yeah, pretty good. I'm actually, cover page, I'm going to scroll down, just leave it on that there. Look. So, it's pretty good, So what do I think? I think, well done, SBTi. You're doing a great job. The companies seem to be taking it up. There is that push in SMEs, which I quite like. And the listed companies, they're going great guns, aren't they? So, as I say, maybe for shareholder pressure, people want to see them doing the right thing. But it's a great set of results. So, if you are looking for a standard, have a look at SBT, Science-Based Targets. It's a really good standard. I like it a lot. If you want to go to that extra level, get SBTi approved, which means committing to them and getting them to check all your stuff. And if that's too much work, then, a plug here, obviously for my book, Net Zero for Business. And, that's just kind of a step down from science-based targets, but it's very achievable and it's certainly something you can do for your business. So there you go. I hope that was useful, and I'll see you next time.